All right, R2. In this demo here, we're gonna start to draw cylinders or like a rounded can type shape. And to do that, we have to understand how a circle works. So if we quick draw a circle, we look at it straight down like you are here in the video, and you can see that it is perfectly round. But if I start to change its angle, it's no longer a perfect circle, it's now an ellipse, kind of like an oval. So we want to think about, as we're drawing cylinders, if we are looking at them from different angles, it's no longer a perfect circle, but it's an ellipse shape that is more of an oval. So we can think of it like this. If I draw a circle, I can draw a little crosshair through it, and I have quarters of that circle. And if I turn it to make an ellipse, I still have the same kind of planes that go through that. It's just turned on its side. So when I start to draw cylinders, I have to think about how I look at that ellipse, depending on the angle that that cylinder is at. So if I start with like maybe a circle in the center here, and I'm going to draw just a series of like barrels essentially that are just knocked over on their side. Is how we can kind of imagine it. So I have like an opening here, just a circle on its side, and then a rest of the barrel that tips back and a rounded edge in the back. Maybe I'll make another one right here. And yeah, hey, don't worry if they're not perfect. This is not the easiest thing to draw free-handed until you've got a lot of practice. But the important thing is rounded shapes to make these little barrels work. Now we'll start to expand, and we'll say like, what if I'm looking at like a circle here? It's like a barrel pointed right at me. And if I start to move to the side, it starts to become more of an ellipse shape. And then as I move it over one notch again, it gets thinner. Until it's very, very thin. So we see sort of progression from more of a circle. It gets thinner and thinner and thinner as it goes. So I'm going to practice drawing ellipses. Maybe I'll have some that are sort of like retreating in space here, like a tree stump. So I think if I'm standing and I'm looking right down at one, I have a big broad ellipse here. It's like a little tree stump growing out of the ground. And then as another tree stump in the distance gets further away, now I'm going to see a smaller ellipse. Here's his little roots. And then the one behind it, even narrower still. And let's say if we imagine these are trees that have been cut down, then maybe I have like an ellipse here of a log. And it's stretching off into the distance. Draw some branches. You can even draw a couple tree rings in there. A few more ellipses. Now, keep on drawing more ellipses here to fill out our page. Let's start thinking about these as like, what we can take this to is like making arms and things for a little mannequin. So if I have like, say an ellipse here, and then another one here, and it kind of tips away. We'll say it's like sections of something that's sort of moving, like a little joint in here. But what I want you to do is practice drawing these ellipses. I'll do the same thing here and just start doing it down here. Circle. Small ellipse, tipping back in space. I want you to fill this page with practice of doing ellipses that make little barrels and things. just practice having an understanding of how things are when they're round, how they can make a rounded three-dimensional form.